In the woods near Grand Tully, Perthshire, there once stood an estate house with a reputation so dark it gained a nickname that stuck: the most haunted house in Scotland. This is Ballechin House. And what makes its story endure isn't just the folklore. It's that the disturbances were serious enough that, by 1897, an organised investigation was mounted with help from the Society for Psychical Research, the SPR. Before the hauntings, Ballechin was simply a home, and homes carry people's pressures, secrets, grief, and conflict. The legend often begins with Major Robert Stewart, a former Indian Army officer who lived at Ballechin with numerous dogs, and was said to have believed in reincarnation and to have claimed he would return as a dog. After his death in 1876, stories swirled that his successor feared that return and had the dogs killed, and that the house was then left with something restless inside it. Whether that origin story is literal truth or later embroidery, it sets the emotional tone, a house shadowed by belief, fear, and death. The first widely cited report comes from 1876, a maid who claimed she saw something she couldn't explain. But the most detailed run of accounts comes later, in the 1890s, when tenants were living with repeated disturbances, unexplained knocks, footsteps, movements, and sightings that witnesses wrote down night after night. And that matters because it moves the story from a rumour into a record, whatever someone believes caused it. In 1897, John Crichton Stewart III, Marquess of Bute, helped organise a prolonged investigation at the house with involvement from SPR researchers. Among those connected to the investigation were Ada Goodrich Freer and Colonel Lemercier Taylor, names that later became inseparable from the controversy surrounding the case. Freer and others kept journals and wrote letters describing what they experienced during the stay. Accounts later compiled in the alleged haunting of B House, published in 1899. That book is part haunting narrative, part investigation diary, and part snapshot of a time when respected people were trying to decide what counted as evidence of the unseen. But Ballechin is also remembered for what happened after. Public criticism appeared, including claims in the Times era that there was no genuine evidence of anything paranormal, and that the inquiry had been mishandled. Even within the SPR orbits, doubts surfaced. The case became tangled with accusations about methods, credibility, and whether investigators had been misled. So Ballechin leaves us with two truths that can sit side by side: a thick body of recorded testimony from multiple observers, and a long-running dispute over how reliable those observations were and what they truly meant. And there's a more modern shift worth noting. In recent years, original materials around the case, including the 1899 account, have become easier to access and re-examine through archives and digitised copies, prompting renewed interest in what was actually written at the time versus what later retellings added. Ballechin House isn't only a ghost story. It's a story about people living in a place where the nights felt hostile, about investigators trying to document the intangible, and about how belief, fear, expectation, and environment can shape what witnesses swear they experienced. Whether Ballechin was haunted, misread, manipulated, or something in between, the house left behind a rare thing: a long paper trail of human beings trying to write down the moment the ordinary world stopped behaving normally. And that is why Ballechin still echoes.